A Milwaukee transgender woman would have turned 32 years old today, but instead, her family will go to court tomorrow for the man charged in her murder.
It is so scary that this trans woman is almost the same age as me. I just turned 33 last month. So it's just crazy and wild to think that this could be me and any trans woman for that matter.
Mary Cachet Henderson was found shot in her apartment back in February. That apartment was also set on fire. Her family is calling it a hate crime, and for the first time, we're hearing from her sister. Ada Henderson drove more than 800 miles for her sister on what would have been her birthday.
She was my best friend.
It's a birthday she'll celebrate not next to her, but in memory of her. Cachet Henderson was Ada's only sibling.
Cachet was a great person. She was very kind, very loving, and she didn't deserve this.
Cachet was killed in February. Firefighters found the 31-year-old inside her Milwaukee apartment while they were responding to a fire. Investigators say she was shot twice. That fire was ruled an arson.
She was killed in her apartment, shot twice. Like, was there anything that she could have done to prevent this? Because, like, if you're already staying indoors, supposedly, at the safety of your own home, in your apartment, and somebody invades your space and shoots you, like, what else can you do? It's crazy because I can literally see myself in this situation and, just being in my apartment and maybe somebody hating me so much to the point where they would shoot me. I think this was a personal attack. I think this wasn't random at all because looking at her, she looks like a woman. She passes for me. This couldn't have been random. It's insane that somebody would have so much hatred towards somebody for just being themselves, for just being trans. It's absolutely crazy to think that this mental condition is something that we didn't, choose for ourselves. And setting aside all of the struggles that we trans people go through just to try to live a normal life. And on top of that, like, people are going to hate on us and even possibly murder us. It's absolutely crazy and scary.
The man charged in her death is 33-year-old Cordell Housey. Her family believes that this was a hate crime. Cachet was a transgender woman. Court records say Housey told his friend, quote, "I caught the body of a disgusting trans."
Cachet is the third trans woman to be murdered in Milwaukee in the past 9 months.
Her family wants lawmakers to call it a hate crime too and want Housey charged for that. They're also asking the court to remove his bail entirely. Right now, it's $250,000.
So insane. That's so insane. This can literally happen to any transgender person. And, you can just be at home doing whatever and get shot. It's absolutely crazy. Now, I know I talk about a lot of things that are not accessible for trans people here in the Philippines, such as changing your name, your birth certificate, your passport, things like that. So my country is very tolerable to trans people. I think there's a difference between being tolerated and accepted because to date, we still haven't passed the SOGI bill, which would benefit, all of the LGBTQ people. But this is where I think I am absolutely lucky for. Being born in this country, I don't think there is a lot of trans murders compared to other countries. Like here, I can say that I pretty much live a normal life here. I have no problems getting a job here. I have no problems using the women's restroom. I have, of course, encountered some discrimination here and there, but nothing too much, nothing too like wild. Of course, there have been, trans murders here as well, but like I feel like living here in the Philippines, I do feel more safe compared to like if I lived in other countries, where there's so much more hate toward trans people. Here, like if I go out, like I think the worst thing that can happen to me is I would get called names. That's it. Like people are going to call me names, they're going to make jokes, they're going to laugh at me. But that's it. Like I've never experienced any sort of violence by being a trans person. So for that, I am lucky and thankful to be here in that regard, that I am safe and I have never been in, any kind of physical danger. It's very sad and unfortunate what happened to this person, because she seemed like a lovely person. And, she has a family, she has siblings that love her. And I don't know, it seems like it was just really a hate crime, just being in your own apartment, getting shot is just cruel. It's so cruel. There is another trans person in the UK who has unfortunately suffered the same fate. Let's watch that.
Vigils were held all over England to honor the life of 16-year-old Brianna Gay. Brianna was a transgender girl who gained a following on TikTok, posting dance and lip-sync videos. She was found stabbed to death on February 13th in Linear Park in Cheshire, England, about 200 miles from London. Police in England say her murder was targeted and are investigating whether this was a hate crime.
She was just 16, so that is absolutely insane. And both of these murders happened in February. And the one thing that these murders have in common is that they were both targeted. It was personal. These two boys were, I believe, were in the same high school as she was. Because, she's doing TikToks, so people are going to know about that. And I guess just these two, heartless bullies just decided to take her life. It's crazy. It's crazy because she's so young. She's 16. She's still in school. She hasn't really done a lot in life yet. And, she got murdered for just being trans. It's absolutely crazy and insane. And it's really hard because, like, literally the only thing that you can do in these types of situations is to fight back, to fight for your life. So, like, it's incredibly important to be alert, especially if you're alone and you're walking, like, with no people around. It's incredibly important to have a self-awareness of your surroundings and making sure that you have some sort of weapon to protect yourself, to defend yourself if ever that you are, faced with grave danger. There's really nothing else that you can do. You can call people, but like it would probably be too late when they arrive. So it's really just like you're kind of on your own, which is scary. Like it's scary because like in this case, there were two people. So obviously she's already outnumbered, and these are, guys. I don't know how big they were or how strong they were, but you're already kind of at a disadvantage. And in these types of situations, like what can you do really, right? What else can you do aside from just like fight for your life, run? Being trans is just like, it's not an easy life. And let me just reiterate that, we didn't choose to be trans. We chose to live our authentic selves and live our truth. Yes, it was our choice to take hormones and dress up the way we identify, but like we're not hurting anyone. We're just trying to live our lives. We're not bothering people. Being trans is already so hard as it is. And on top of that, we always have to worry that some people might murder us just for being trans. It's not a life that I would wish upon anybody. You really, really have to be strong to be trans. Being trans is not easy. It's not a joke. So I would say maybe to the parents to maybe educate and teach their children to, have a bit more understanding and compassionate with not just trans people, but like just, people in general. I'm thinking of like how could these like crimes could have been prevented? Like if these boys have had maybe some kind of education when they were younger about trans people, would that have made a difference maybe in terms of like knowing about them and accepting them and loving people just as people? I'm a little torn when it comes to the, teaching kids about trans people. And I guess I'm more so concerned about what they're teaching the kids. If it's about acceptance and, just being educated that these people exist, as opposed to you can be whatever you want to be, I think that's a much better like route when it comes to educating, children about our existence and that we're just the same. To my trans sisters, please try to be safe. Carry a weapon with you. Always have spatial awareness and, always be alert of your surroundings and, always check if there's somebody behind you. Don't walk to places that is already kind of shady or dark or whatever. Just, we need to do the best that we can to protect ourselves, because at the end of the day, if somebody tries to attack us, there's only us that we can depend on. There's no one else that can help us but us. So thank you guys for watching, and I hope to see you on the next one. Bye, guys.